We just go ahead and start this. So, everybody, for the sake of the recording, today is August 17. We're here to talk about finance, perhaps some strategic look at planning, where we might go with our way of achieving what we need to do what we want to do, and what that encompasses as well. So, yeah, Sylvia, to your point, that's one of the first things Teresa said, and I know you and I have talked about how do we make the board more aware of where we stand on everything. I also pulled, and I'm going to send everybody the reports Larry's given over the last few years. Those of you who have been around, well, you all are new since Larry was on board, but we never had any kind of regular reports. Basically, I got a once a year. Here's where the accounts stand. And at the time, I didn't even have access to the accounts, so I never knew what the numbers were until I could get them out of him. And nothing against Larry, but we just didn't have a lot of real-time information to work with. So I'll send those just for everybody's info. It's very high level, and he had not broken out categories to where we could really see what's in what. In fact, what says dues when you see it is basically, it usually ended up being a few ad hoc people giving something and then a few life memberships, which are 150 each. So it really did not represent, there was never a process for collecting dues. I'll just be honest. So since at least the time I started 2017, there's not been any process for annual dues or anything, even though we had a form out there, but that was it. Nobody came around and said, "Hey, it's time to do give your dues for the year." But that's a conversation we've all visited, or many of us have visited before, and we can do so again if we want. So, Sylvia, what would you like to give us as far as where we stand at the moment?
Just where we are, just a little,
Okay.
because I have it broken out. Let's see if I even can share my screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I share. Right here, down here. Let's share. Let's see which one is the one I want to share.
So do you want to be that one? Zoom in 4 more pages, yeah.
Let me just close out everything else. It's the only one.
Oh, scroll down. That's what. There we go.
What do you mean? Oh, there we are. Here we are. Share. Can you see my screen now? My
It's
Excel?
coming. Yep, I do.
Big enough?
It's okay for me. How about the rest of
Okay.
you?
So this is just where we are. I went back and checked back to April 2024, just March 2024, where we were at that point. That was when we put the first CD in, and then where we are now. So we started pretty much at the end. On January 1st of 25, we had 14,000 the account. We ended on January 1st of 26. 14,000 on January 1st of 26, we had 5,360. So yeah, it's huge difference, $9,000. And then now we have 2,731, and the 420 I will deposit tomorrow because it's cash, so I have to go to the bank. That brings us to 3,151. When we look at the actuals, and in here I have if it's a donation, if it's a reimbursement, if it's sharing for the museum, and what kind of donation it is. If it's just a donation, if it was a t-shirt sale, if it was for the scholarship, all these different things. So we really know what it is.
Yeah,
Then when we look up actuals versus budgets, we have here first, that's from this year, we have everything in bold is actual. Those are the actual numbers, what you see here. So far for this year, see if I can move this around a little bit. So far for this year, and if you look donations, let's see if I can make it smaller probably. Just gonna go this way. So we have the actuals for this year. I took out for income, everything we are assuming we have for us currently, we have zero income in there because anything what's gonna be is a donation or a sale, and we don't have numbers yet on that. So, but you can see we had a budget of $2,803 for donations, and because they split the donations up, actually I have it right. So currently we have donations amount of $7,340 in total. So we are far above budget, but still it's just not enough. Because when we look at expenses, we have less interest than the years before. I just have as I don't have my big screen, I have to move my stuff around all the time here. So yeah. So the
So she's
checking,
speaking of interest from the two CDs, just to be clear. Yeah.
that's it. The two CDs, we only had $4,747 in interest, and we had forecasted almost $6,000 with $1,300 down on that. And our regular interest also in the accounts is just lower because there's less money in. So we now have about $12 interest a month. So that's the row right here. That is this row. So if it's like forecasted, we're gonna have $85 compared to with the forecast about $130 compared to $250. So it's just we're bleeding. But still, compared to forecast, we did have more money come in. And even though we not have a barn dance this fall, still we have our expenses are high.
Yeah, this was the most expensive barn dance we've ever had, and that's much due to the band. So
yeah, it's not just the barn dance, but of course we also have the web design where we paid $900. There's another $900 coming up. There was a speaker last month, right? Was a speaker paid yet, the $100?
Oh,
I don't think so.
no.
Not that I know
And
of.
I need to address to him whether he wants it directly in organization. We've been giving a $100 honorarium to the speakers. Some of them take it or they ask us to donate it to an organization. So
And so for the t-shirts, we got donations for about $2,000, and it cost us $1,000 so far. The 676 you see here, so it was 333.60 for the kids, the 704.50 for now, the 676.80 here. It never went through. So they say they are paid, but I know it's not paid. It didn't come out of our account. I asked them 3 times and they told them it's paid. So I'm like, okay.
I saw a transaction recently, Sylvia. Let me pull it up here.
That was a 704.50.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the 676.80 never went through.
Never came out. Okay. Got it.
Nope. I advised them and they said they're fine. So just FYI. But still, I mean, so far we paid $1,000 and we got $2,000, so we made $1,000, and with the donation, we really made $2,000 on it now. So even if we have to pay the $600, and we have still t-shirts to sell, it's not like we're out of t-shirts. We still have 14, 50, 36 adults plus 20 kids t-shirts to sell, which I'm gonna take on Saturday with me to the over to
the fair.
The fair for Saturday and Sunday, and we just sell the heck out of it. And whenever there's Adam's family here, we sell it to them too. At the White House. No, last weekend we sold 11. I mean, they like it.
Yeah. John does market stuff for us quite a bit, and some of you know he got a bunch of his family to get life memberships last year and some things like that. Plus, we do not pay for the barn dance.
Maybe you can talk to John to get a better location for the t-shirts. Maybe you can address that.
Oh, at the market?
Mm-hmm. It's the tree lofts are there, more visible. The medical clinic is more visible than, so yeah, maybe. So so currently we have, so far we have actual expenses of 10,400. And we're gonna it's gonna be another $4,000 in expenses. And that's
I'm sorry, say that again,
That's
Sylvia.
an estimate through the end of the calendar year, correct?
correct, yes, because it's about $43 museum electricity. There's going to be another $900 for the website. There are the Sharon fees here for opening the museum docent fee. It's $50 every Saturday. Then we have the summer program speakers, another $100. And then the venue rental from
Yeah.
this past speaker, the $70.
Oh,
And then
that's already been paid,
has it been paid, the last one?
yeah, you sent it. I saw it come through.
I sent one, and I think that was for the July 8th. I did not pay for this. Oh, this past one, there is nothing because it wasn't a church, right? It was in
Yeah.
Grace Chapel.
Right.
So we don't have that one, so I can take it out.
Yeah, they were just
Okay.
July 8th and the May
Perfect.
one. Yeah.
Okay. And then for Amazon printing, I still have the $720 in here.
We don't, so just to let everybody know, we're trying to get the Tate book reprinted because we're down to a very few copies. And it's been a horrible process because there's nothing from before. So we've had to start over. And John's gotten the proof done, which I'm trying to proof right now. And once we know everything's proofed, then we can go to Amazon and see how much they're going to charge us for the thing. So that's a wild guess right there. We'll see how much it costs, but
Yeah.
it depends
And
on how many
then-
copies we decide to do at
Sure.
once.
Yeah. And then
Yeah, we could set a budget for that at $500, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just do
Yeah.
so many copies.
Because once we get it with Amazon, we can reprint it any time. So
Sure.
we don't need to go get 500 copies or something like that, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's what we paid last year, and that's why we had it in there. And I just moved it every month on, so we have
Yeah,
some
that was
in there.
for the regular printing. Now, I think we'd had to do some stuff earlier this year, but it wasn't very much, but I don't see it on here. So anyhow,
And then there's the PO box, the annual fee of $78, what's coming up. So that's really where that amount is coming from, the
okay.
$4,000.
We'll continue to get some revenue from the market. There's a check waiting for me right now of $262 for last month. And I anticipate by the end of the year, we may have another $400 to $500. It gets less in the off months, but we still sell. So that'll be coming in. We don't sell very many during museum open days, and Sharon tracks that. And I need to see the tracking when I go back to see, but I think it's been just a few copies of things. But we'll have the sales from the fair, which have typically been somewhere between 300 and 500. And hopefully that'll be the case this year as well. We'll see.
Does the market get a percent?
Yeah, it's like a commission for the sale. It's just under 10%.
10%.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to talk to John with the t-shirts that you don't get anything, that it's truly a donation for that.
Okay.
So that's where we are. So we're
And the
just,
website second payment may be less. The original amount was going to be 1,500 total, which means we would have another 600 to pay. We're just having to buy a couple plugins to make the e-commerce piece work. And so I don't think it's going to be 900, but it's not going to be exactly 600. So it'll be somewhere between there.
okay.
Sorry to keep interrupting, Sylvia. I'm just trying to help.
No, that's it. Those are my numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
So
Good job on putting all the numbers together.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
really helps.
This
Yeah,
is so much better. Yeah.
and I want to share it every month. I think
Yeah,
we
that
look
would be
just
really
where
helpful.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be liable either at the end of the year that, hey, what happened with the money? You know, it's
Yeah.
right there. And I like keeping a running document because I compare that all the time with what's in the account.
Yeah.
So it's right that all fits together. So
Yeah. So this is helpful, and I could show you the year-on-year comparisons previously, but just to give you all a picture of what's different when we look at why we had um, like the count usually never had more than 4 to 5 thousand in it a few years ago, but we weren't spending on anything but the scholarship, which at the time was $500, not 2,000. We weren't giving any money to anyone who was speaking, which is not a huge amount of the budget, but it's more money. We were not paying for anything to do with uh, the barn dance fees were less. If we just go with a square dance collar, which we could always do again, it's about a quarter of that amount versus the amount we paid this year. So it's things we've tried to enhance with, um, and of course, going into other kinds of sales that we said we wanted to try, it does take more money. Um, and we did do a couple adjustments, like we increased the cost of the books a little bit, which needed to happen because our cost from Amazon has gone up as well. So in order to keep a profit there, and then we are doing more marketing than used to be done, as far as where it takes a little bit of money to get the word out about things. So those kinds of things, and of course the website project and the logo project were costs, and I think the logo project is probably in there too somewhere.
It is.
Yeah,
Then we got the banners.
there it is. Okay,
We
got it.
decorated the logo banners.
Yes, we
And then the
produced some
logo
banners.
design,
Mhm.
I have 150 for this year in here. That's right
Yeah.
here.
But some things I've taken off. We needed a new tent for the fair, but thanks to Mike Green, who is giving us one to use, we don't need to buy a new one. And since it's the only thing we use it for, we really don't need to buy a tent. It's just a one time a year thing. So we're saving some money there. Um, and hopefully we can find other places where maybe we just pull back if we don't have to do certain things. But I think this is also a good time for us to think, do we want to keep doing all these things? And if we do we want to keep things that require the amount of expenditure that they're taking? And wouldn't hurt my feelings if we say, you know what, we probably just shouldn't have a band, at the barn dance. We just have a square dance caller. Or we don't do as much stuff on one or the other thing that we might have going right now. So it's a discussion we need to have, not only for the sake of are we spending money correctly in the way we want to, but also then what does that mean in terms of what we need our audience to understand about needs. Now, as you could see from what Sylvia had up there, we had some very generous donations this year. A bunch of you gave money towards the scholarship at the end of last year, and so that was great. And we've had some individual monies just out of the blue, donations. And I haven't, Sylvia, I don't know if you've been to the post office box, but I haven't been for a month now. And
I can go
typically when I go
tomorrow.
by, there's something.
Okay, I can go tomorrow. Didn't even think
Yeah,
about
okay.
it. Yeah. And also I can pick up the check tomorrow from the markets. Because if I deposit the cash,
Oh yeah, that'd be
I can
great if you
deposit at the
could.
same
Yeah.
time.
Okay, good. Thank you. Perfect. So Sylvia, anything else from you before we kind of take that into our discussion?
No, that's just that looking at the numbers, we need an income. We need money. We need to find a way to get money because we are bleeding every year. So, and
Yeah.
there's not much more to bleed.
Yeah. Well, last year was the first year we went in the red at all. We went in the red, if you were to calculate, by about $840. I think that's still about the range, Sylvia, from my notes. And otherwise, we've just kind of balanced out each year. We used to have a consistent about $3,000 from Howell Adams, which we haven't had for a couple of years now. So that helped us out in those moments when we were on the edge or near it. But we know those kinds of things aren't going to be forever. If we get another kind of helpful person wanting to do that kind of stuff, it's great. But that was one of the things that changed. But also, it's just the volume of what we're doing. And because we did the logo, then we wanted to have signs and banners, and we wanted to have better posters, and we did better posters. And it all costs money. And I probably have not helped that because I like doing that stuff. And I like for it to be the best quality, whatever we can do, but we don't have to do that all the time. So I need you all to kind of keep me in check too about that. Um, so one of the things I put down was to sort of understand where we are. And so Sylvia's helped us with that. And then I just want to throw that question out that I was meandering around earlier. So let me ask you, do you think we are doing the right amount? Because we're doing a lot more than used to happen, right? Or is it too much? Are there things that maybe aren't adding value or at the way we're doing them isn't adding value and we should maybe pull back on just to think of how we're spending money? I'll just throw that question out for y'all.
I guess that would depend on what you're talking about, right? I mean, and what's important to you may not be as important to me, but
Right.
I'm not sure what you're wanting to,
Well,
what you're weighing cutting out.
okay, let's just take barn dance. That's an easy one because it's our biggest expense, right? So we've had various caterers. Some of them are here and some are here. I think from the feedback I get, nobody feels one is well, not nobody, but I mean, I don't hear the whole crowd saying this one was great and this one wasn't. I hear every time I do it, I hear some people saying, "Oh, that was perfect," and others saying, "Well, I like the other better." So, there's a very subjective thing, and maybe Aaron, that's part of what you're saying. But this last one, we used the Slick Pig. They were as reasonable. They were not the highest. The highest was Hickory Creek, not Hickory Creek, but Collins. I've had the most good feedback from this last one. I don't know if that's true for you guys or not, but I did personally receive it, the most good feedback from Slick Pig. But that doesn't mean that's who we need to use. The cheapest we've ever had is Prater's, which we used for years. The good thing about Prater's and Slick Pig is they deliver, and Andrew doesn't have to drive, pick it up, and bring it, which I've done for 3 years. So we've got that, and this twice we've had a band. And this particular band, and which is true of many, is they charge a holiday fee because they're over a holiday. So this cost almost double what we paid them last time. So that was a commitment that I just went ahead and made, and maybe that wasn't smart. So it was a lot more. We spent we got some more decorations, but they were not expensive. It was, little piddly stuff from Dollar Tree and Walmart. So we didn't do anything different in cost. I'll tell you what was more, and I'm sorry to say it, is the Marcus charged us a lot more for the same drinks than we pay at a retailer. So I was kind of pissed off, to be honest. I'll say it that way. Not that they shouldn't charge what it costs them, but I just don't, I want to support the market, but I don't think we should use them just because when we're going to pay twice as much. And in some of that stuff, it was twice as much. So that was a little more than we usually do. We did buy a donation box, as you saw, so that we could have something regularly at this event, but that wasn't that much, but it did cost. So anyhow, all that said, let's just talk barn dance.
What was the total amounts that the barn dance cost
The whole
The
barn
total-
dance?
for the whole thing? Yeah.
4,106.56.
How
Oh,
much is the band?
Okay, and
The
that
band
number
was
before it too, right?
2,000. I beg your pardon? And
So
then the
that-
335.14. So a total of 4,441.70. Out
Yeah.
of that, I have it right down here. We have the band was $2,000. Slick Pig was 1,860. 240 for the bourgeois market for the iced tea and lemonade, which is a lot. And then we had some $335 just for, the cutlery and all the stuff you need, so the decoration and cups and plates and stuff like that. I'd like to throw out there that I think I like the bands, I like the kind of music, but I don't think it gives overall more people come because of the band. I think they all come to hang out together, to talk with each other, but not because of the band. I don't think we need it to get the same amount of people. It's not like they drive people to come to the barn dance. That's my personal opinion on that.
And just by comparison, this was roughly $1,000 more than last year. If just so you know.
What would be the option of having a DJ? instead of a band. I think it appears most of the people are there to socialize and to have a meal.
Yep.
And then, but some do dance and they have a really good time. But I'm wondering either, as Sylvia said, maybe the band element is not that important, but if it is, then would a DJ be another option?
Yep.
And that way you're just paying one person as opposed to five or six.
Right. And we did that in
Yeah, I
2025.
know. Yeah,
He was both a square dance caller and a DJ. So, we were trying to keep some of the old elements. So yeah, it's always an option. Or a band that's not as expensive. Like the
right.
bluegrass band that we had, which was a different style, was oh gosh, they were like 1,200, something like that. I don't know.
How much is the gentleman who does the square dance, the call?
The from a few years ago.
Yeah.
He's not doing it anymore for one thing, but
Mhm.
they were like 500, I think.
Yeah, it kind of just personal for me. It feels like we're in a barn dance. I don't know if I need a DJ playing music when it's a kind of traditional 4th of July. What the question is, what's our theme, right? Do you want to go modern or do you want to keep it a little bit more traditional?
Yep, yep,
That's another question to throw out there. What
yep.
people
I do think it's worth looking at who are we trying to pull in? What kind of audience are we trying to bring more into
Yeah. And
barn dance? If we want more locals and younger folks, maybe a DJ works great and we target the kind of music that they want to listen to and it engages them more and they enjoy it more. I think we have yet to see if the band actually will bring in more people. I think there was definitely a more lively, enjoyable feel this year than I remember in the past. I mean, I've only been to
And
three.
there's really a lot of energy this year. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think a DJ is a good option, but I do think I know we want to go with this kind of historical, kind of rustic feel, but I think a lot of that we could target kind of younger folks, country music, still with that sort of country feel, but also targeting younger folks because we're trying to get in, um, younger folks and people that we wouldn't normally reach out to.
Yeah, because it feels like currently it's the summer people who come, right?
Mhm.
That's
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
what we have.
Yep.
That's and I don't know how we can get and we talk every time we talk about the whom else we can get in there to come from the locals and
The only way I think that we could be able to get local folks to come would to be able to find some musicians that are connected with the local folks. And I don't know, we can sort of do some, checking on that. There's a lot of musicians around that. And I also like the idea of the DJ too. I think that that would work, but I think definitely we need to look at not spending as much money for the music part, one way or the other. Yeah, and would like a bluegrass kind of thing, or when if there's more of like a square dance kind of thing, or are people involved in the times before? I wasn't over there for that.
you
There's some. We had by far more volume with the bands dancing. If you're looking for people to participate from a dancing perspective,
Yeah.
but yeah,
As far as the food goes, I think I'm not sure I'm not sure it does matter if we go with
one or the other.
the higher end. I think a big draw to this place is all of the potluck, the stuff that people bring. Because everybody's looking forward to what are they bringing? What are the goodies? Everybody's really digging that. So the barbecue is kind of just your base, and then everything else is the fun stuff.
with
So
regards to the catering, it seems like we always have a truckload of leftovers. I know it's hard to forecast how many people are going to show up, but I mean, I would rather run out than have 40 pounds of barbecue left over.
isn't it amazing? I mean, and I ordered for even less this year. I mean, I've gone down every time, but we think we had close to 300 people because of the plates and stuff. But I ordered for 200.
And we did run
Yeah.
out of barbecue, but we didn't run out
Yeah.
of beans. Is that right? It was
Exactly.
like
We had, yeah, we ran totally out of the pork. Well, the shredded barbecue, right? And we had a tiny bit of the turkey, which went pretty well too. But we had
Mhm.
tons of beans
And
Okay.
coleslaw.
and coleslaw.
So
So I
so
just
we
need
can
to
just
tell these folks, let's make it for 100 on beans and coleslaw, huh?
yeah, because we have so many sides, and people are going to bring beans and coleslaw too.
Yeah.
Well, it's to say maybe we don't need to do sides.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could maybe focus on the meat. I was blown, that was I was blown away by the dishes that were brought. I was involved in trying to find places and we ran out of room,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, the variety and everything, it was gourmet, it was amazing. So I think
Yeah.
one place we could cut back on the amount of food. We maybe could concentrate on the meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meat and
Because
buns.
there were a lot of people brought beans, baked beans,
Yes,
and
I
a lot
saw
of
that.
people
Yeah.
brought slaw and salads.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how much food comes in the door, which is
And
great.
I don't think we have to do a cake. There's a lot of desserts there, and it saves someone a trip to McMinnville.
Oh, we didn't do a cake.
The American birthday cake, Kroger. Oh,
That
that's for the
was
declaration.
That's for
That's
the,
for the reading. Sorry, never
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
yeah, sorry, yeah, that's on there.
Yeah.
So,
No, we don't do
This
any we don't order any desserts for
Yeah,
the barn dance.
Good.
this is kind of a wild idea, but when you're um, trying to buy a wedding present for somebody, they give you a list of all the things that they want. And if somebody's already bought one thing, then then you won't rebuy it or you can't rebuy it. I mean, it would be wild if you had on your website, you had all the different dishes that people could bring. And, they said, well, I'll bring my beans. And they look up the beans and it says, we've already got enough beans.
So,
Yeah, I can tell you our
Get on to
audience is
that.
not geared that way.
Did you get onto that, Andrew, and get back with me?
I think
Sorry, Aaron.
I suggest we come up with a budget for the catering, and stick to it, and tell our caterers what that budget is and what we want. And my case study for this was for 7 years I bought lunch for a dealership every Saturday, and I I made my own budget of $125, which is not enough to feed 25 people, but I did it, and and the people that catered it knew what my budget was, and they would fit within that.
I think in general, we should have a budget for next year and we need to stick with it. And if we need more for whatever reason, if we can't do it, we need to have a discussion and it needs to get approved if you go
Yeah.
over.
So
So
if we had a budget of say $1,700 for catering, and we went to Prater's and Slick Pig, and we said, "This is what we're wanting to do. This is how many people we have to feed. Can you do it?" Oftentimes they'll say, "Yeah, we can make that work."
Yeah.
Whatever that number is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's go back to this overall discussion then. That barn dance is a great example, right, of an area. It's easy to pick the pieces and say, well, we could do this differently and that differently. So that's sort of what I wanted to get to with overall what we do. Are the things where we need to spend differently on or just not spend on, et cetera. And we're not going to be able to pick all that apart tonight, but I had worked with Elizabeth and Sylvia early this year, and we came to the next board meeting, if you remember, in January and said, hey, here's what we walked through and what we expect. We're going to project our costs coming up and what we think that's going to cost and start the basis of let's create a budget because this organization's never really had a budget. And another approach to this is what's called an annual fund plan, and you basically project what you want to do, and then if you raise the money for that, then you can do it. But if you don't, you don't. That's one of the things Theresa threw out, and she has done this with organizations. She and Elizabeth Papel actually have offered to help us with that kind of thing if we choose to go that route. But I agreed that we ought to just get at least the basics of a budget together at this point. And let's see what we're doing now. If we continue with that, what does that look like? Now, there's some things that aren't going to be repeatable from this year, like logo and website. That's done deal, et cetera. But there are things that are repeatable, like we'll need to order more books as we run out. We'll need to keep paying the electricity. We know what that is. Keep paying the pest control for the museum. We know what that is. That kind of stuff. And really look at that and say, well, then how much of the frosting of the cake can we add on top of this? I would really love to have that discussion, and I can do it with the executive committee, which is basically treasurer and secretary. But I think we need to then bring that back and have the whole board talk about it. And there's just not been a lot of formalization. Like I told you before, I just barely didn't even know what numbers were until Sylvia came around. So I think we're starting to get smart about this, bottom line. But
I'd like
also
to
I'd
add
like us to
something.
dream too. And so finding that balance, I think, is the key. Sorry.
Who is your oncoming secretary?
Well, we need to figure that out. Who will be secretary for the coming year or longer. Those aren't terms. It's just however long the person's willing while they're on the board to hold the office. So if any of you are willing and interested, let me know. Um,
I'm not a good candidate, I'll just say. But
well, let me tell you
um,
one thing.
I think
Now
we
with Zoom, I get notes automatically. It actually records the whole transcript. And so it's very easy to go through and just pick out the pieces, and you don't have to remember anything or write anything while the meeting's going on. I tried it out with the meeting that Sylvia and Elizabeth had, and it was great because every detail was there of the conversation, and you could just say, here was this topic, and here are the main things that we said or agreed on, et cetera. But anyhow, we'll need to figure that out amongst all of us that are staying on the board,
well, and
um,
Um,
and with
I,
those coming on.
what I think, my opinion, if we have anything coming up, like this year we have the web design, the logo, I think before we can do anything like that, we have to run a donation. We have to ask for money to do that, because if you don't have money, we can't do it. We want it, don't get me wrong. I think we want it. Not a question. We need it done, but we should ask. And personally, I like to donate when I know what it goes for. So if I know, hey, if I know Virtual Springs Historic Society needs a new website, that's what they ask money for. I'm more willing to give something because I know where it goes, what it's used for, than just, okay, I give money.
And we can even do that right now. It's
I
still in
think we should still.
design. So we
We should
could
still
we could
ask
market
them.
that right
Yeah.
now and say, hey, what do you think of our website? And most people agree it's pretty crappy, right? So would you be willing to donate towards?
Yeah, I think that's what a good thing. And also think for the scholarship. So we had in this year 750, and then in December we had 650. So we had $1,400 for the scholarship, and we gave a $2,000 scholarship. I think also when we get into December, we should ask for for the scholarship for specific.
Yes.
And if we can raise more money, I would be happy to cut a bigger check. If we can do that because we get the money for the scholarship, let's give
Yeah.
it then to the person.
yeah. I
We
I
need
love
the money.
campaign fundraising. I just there's a balance there because all that becomes restricted funds for that particular um, item that we're raising money for,
True.
and we also need just operational
Yes,
income, right?
We
I
do.
agree.
So,
Maybe
and
there's
it
a way.
creates a bit of a difficulty for Sylvia in tracking all of her restricted accounts and pulling from those.
I mean, we got a check for $1,000 for the museum renovation. That's part of everything. I'm tracking it here. Whenever we get to the museum renovation, we have to pull $1,000 out and there. But I don't have a separate. We don't have a separate account, right? So
Yeah, we don't have to have a separate account, just so long as we track
Mhm.
that money and the expenditure and draw down those accounts.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be in a separate checking account, just
Right.
Maybe
Right.
separated on the books.
Mhm.
And just so you all know, I've had a little hard time, and I don't know how to find out what happened, but the check that we were given for the museum that was restricted for the museum from the Coffee County Museum that closed. This was 3 or 4 years ago. Was more than that's in the CD. I think what Larry might have done is put part of that in operations at the time, and I need to go back and find out because it's not the amount. There's 63,000 in that CD, and I know the amount was a good 10,000 or more above that came in. So that's not to throw Larry under the bus or anything, but I think when he created the two CDs, something shifted in where those funds sat. The other CD, just so you know, for general operations has roughly, Sylvia, 55,000.
I have it right here. Let me just look at the accounts. So one has 68,794.88, and the other one has 58,532.94.
So the
Okay.
trick
So
is we
next,
can't just start pulling funds from there. Now, if we decide we want to shift some of those monies, I don't know the particulars of how it works. We will lose
The interest.
the interest, right?
right.
But if we need to, we have that money. It's
When is
not
the
earmarked.
when
Yeah.
is the maturation of those CDs?
April 16 and April 17.
Okay.
Yeah. So we just so you're aware that is there and it's not earmarked. The one is, but the other is not.
Well,
Um,
but 10,000 of the other one should be earmarked on our books.
and that's what I'm going to have a
Yeah.
conversation with Mr. Popel about, just
Yeah.
so I understand what happened there, because if it needs to go back into that, then we need
Well,
to have.
Yeah.
so as I understand restricted accounts, you don't have to have it in a separate bank account or savings. It just has to be reflected as a restriction on your books. So
So,
we don't have to, it doesn't matter as long as we're tracking it correctly.
Yes. Yes.
Aaron, what about the interest on it? Do you know, or
The interest does not have to go to that restriction.
Okay.
It's just the principle of the restriction.
Mhm.
So we can take the income off of those any restrict. So in the past, I've commingled my restricted assets and non-restricted assets for checking and investment purposes. As long as it's within your internal books accounted for. And so there's no way to untangle the income from those restricted accounts. Does that make sense?
The income goes on our regular checking account.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's where it is. That's
Yeah.
what we're using
We've been
every year,
spending it.
the
Good.
interest. Yeah.
So yeah, in April we can draw down one of our CDs a little bit for operating capital if we need it, right?
If we have to, ideally,
Yeah, ideally we make
find
more
a way to
money
get
and
donations,
draw
right?
down our
Something.
expenses and we're all good. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay.
But the question is really, how can we raise money? I think that's a big question here. What do we need to do
Yeah.
yeah,
to raise
Um,
money?
So look,
If I
if
could make a
oh, go
suggestion.
ahead, Sanford, go ahead.
Okay, I'm very involved with the land trusts and how we work that, and we've been doing this now for 30 years. And it's I always try to emphasize, it's a membership supported organization. And so with the whole list of people, and I know with the Historical Society, there's a whole list of how many people do we have now on that? It's like,
So in our distribution list, there are 224 persons.
okay,
And just to give you all a little demographic info, I would say 80% of those do not come to Beersheba regularly. A good 50% probably don't come to Beersheba at all, in my understanding, which doesn't mean a whole lot, except that their binding to what we're doing is maybe perhaps less. Go ahead, Sanford.
well, so and what we've been doing, and I know other organizations do that too, is toward the end of the year, people are looking to be able to make donations. And so we do a letter from the president to all of the members, which is anyone that has ever given money. And here's what we've accomplished, here's what's going on, and we're asking for renewal of the membership. we want just a reminder to please, renew your membership for the coming year of whatever our, the dues are. And I know that maybe that would be something that would, reach those people that don't come up here, but still, they're looking to make donations to, a 501c3 at the end of the year, and they love Beersheba. So yeah, we'll give some, so anyway, that's just a suggestion.
Yeah, and that's as you say, that's quite common with the number of nonprofits to do end of year. I just did it through the newsletter, but ideally it would be great to focus on that better. Like we don't have addresses for everybody, so doing an actual physical letter is pretty much impossible. But we could do a separate email that's solely focused on that has that message, like you're saying. Last year it was just an article in the email that I sent out. And we did get a few responses from that. I think I reported that there was roughly $1,800 that came in, I think, from that appeal.
Okay.
But I agree, that's the first time we've done in my time.
Okay. Yeah, and the membership, so is it like, I know the life membership is 150. It seems to me that, we should raise that.
So that
I
question,
don't know
that's
of
a good
any
question.
organization that the
Yeah.
life membership is that low.
Yeah. Let's go to the question of membership, because
Yeah.
there used to be this idea that you paid a fee and you became a member, but it
Yeah.
was supposed to be an annual thing, but nobody asked for annual, so it just kind of died. Right now, what I did with the membership form was to say, please make a contribution to become a member, but membership doesn't really mean much because we just keep adding people to the distribution list anyhow. So there's no benefit to member other than not being one. But so we can talk more about what does it mean to be a member, and if we want to go to the idea of to be a member, you've got to do something, or we give them something different if they are a member, or we talk in terms of what does life member get me? If we want to look at it that way, I think most of our folks haven't really cared. They're just happy to donate that idea. And so we could certainly look at raising the amount from 150. It's been there many, many years, for sure. That's one of the things Theresa mentioned is, do we need to revisit that idea of the idea of a membership versus where we are now? That means the administration has to be behind it. Somebody's got to say, no, you don't get on the list if you're not a member. And that I know will piss off a number of our people who we've never got it restricted that way. Or
Well, I don't know that we need
we
to
just ask all the time to give your
Yeah.
membership fee.
I don't know that we would have to take them off the list. No, what we do is we revise one every now and then. If we haven't heard from somebody after X number of years, and we just take them off the list.
Mm.
But it can be sort of more of an informal kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where
I'm not sure how to gauge that because we don't hear from these folks anyhow. They're just recipients of information.
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
We do try to clean it up, though. In fact, I think I'd sent it to you all a few months ago saying, anybody you know that's not around. In MailChimp, if the email address is no longer good, it cleans them off. So we get occasionally emails that have to be taken off because they're no longer a good email. And by the way, after John did he was able to do what we call authentication of our domain, which hadn't happened for a few years because I've not had access to all that. John's the only one right now. We got to fix that. But after he did it, our numbers did pop up. So I think I told you all we were only getting 30% of people that opened the email, means they looked at it. That number went up about 15% after the authentication took place. So maybe it means more are receiving it, or it's not going in their spam or something like that. It's my hope. So that was a nice little jump. I think the last one, it was 44.2% or something opened it versus 30%. So I hope to see that continue to rise because that's our only mode of communication with these folks. even though
So,
people aren't
Andrew,
crazy
we,
about
we have
email.
a, oh, sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
We have the distribution list. Do we have a separate list of our membership, lifetime members?
We in MailChimp, we've got categories. So I'm able to mark that somebody's a life member having made that donation. So
Okay,
we
but
could,
that's the only tracking of who our lifetime members are.
yeah, I mean, I haven't needed it otherwise because I can export from there at any time and create a list. So yeah, we know who's a life member based on how we've updated the database as that goes along.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to see that, I'm happy to produce it out. In case you want to go bug somebody to become a life member.
Well, I mean, I don't, I'm not sure where I stand with the lifetime membership. I just, so that's MailChimp is serving as our CRM tool.
I just kept that the same. That's what John was doing.
Okay.
Now, one of the things I'd like to look on, but this is money. Right now, we have a free version of MailChimp, which means the designing level I can do, as you see when you get the email. Some of you probably see it. It comes in a format that's not the friendliest or the most interesting. That's all I can do because it's the free version. If we were to get a membership, well, not a membership, but a subscription, whatever it is, then your design options are much different. And I'm throwing that out because it's a money thing. But number two, with the new website, there's a application called Mail Poet, and Mail Poet has an integration between MailChimp and WordPress, which is what our new website's being built in. And it can take that and create automatic posts on the website based on the articles in the email. And that would be fantastic because then our website automatically would contain this information. It's like a forum blog kind of thing. So I'm having the designer tell me how much that costs, and it's a money thing, but it allows us to do that because I have a feeling I haven't heard a whole lot of people raising their hands saying they want to manage some of this stuff. So if we can get automation built in, it helps us all the more. Yeah. So all that to say, when we talk about membership, right now where we stand is we've got a list of people who want the email.
Okay.
And we know if they're life members or not. But going back to your thoughts, Sanford, I'm totally with you. I think the end of year appeal is a must-have. Every nonprofit does it.
Yeah.
And it's a way to highlight that they can have a tax-deductible donation. We do send letters right now. So if there's a donation made, I've got a form letter that meets the requirements to say we're a 501c3, et cetera. Thank you very much. And you can use this for your tax deductible process. So that happens. And I think the more we repeat that we are 501c3, I'm thinking maybe the email should stay at the bottom or something too. I haven't done that, but maybe that's something we ought to do. But in the website, the content, I'm trying to up the number of places where that is mentioned. And of course, I'm hoping that the website helps us with that virtual audience too, because they now can go online at any time and make a donation. And we've got segments for scholarship, museum. I forget what the other two are, so they can donate specifically to that. And Sylvia, we get a record from the acknowledgement that's sent out telling us which of those they did, what they gave to, or if it's through the store option. I'm jumping around, but I want you to know there's a bigger picture to ways we can work with this that we haven't yet had the opportunity to do. And that my hope is this virtual audience, which is most of our email audience, might get more engaged. Long term, I know some of you know I had wanted to do some Zoom presentations because those are the people that have said, why don't you record or do a live stream or whatever, which is a big technology jump. But just saying we're going to have so-and-so who's in Arkansas, but they are an expert on the Civil War in Tennessee. They could speak to that, and all those people that we only know virtually could enjoy it. So all kinds of stuff we can do. That's a pretty free, that's an easy free one. We're using my Zoom account right now, but that's fine. I don't mind. Um, but that would automatically make opportunities for our virtual audience to get involved and hopefully then see it's worth donating. Am I throwing too many things at you guys? You're looking a little deer in the headlights.
No, I like the idea of the Zoom meeting.
Yeah. Okay.
Presentation.
I think we need to do, I think like quarterly send and ask out there, not just once a year. Definitely before the barn dance, I would think, because now, like when you, I think it's getting clearer and clearer that the Historical Society hosts the barn dance. For the longest time until last year, I had no idea. I thought Howell does it. Howell pays for it. It's all Howell because he was always speaking that. And of course, John was there too. So I don't know if everybody knows that it's really the Historical Society who
Yeah.
does it.
That's true.
Yeah. So if you think about it, we can make those the bumps in the year, right? Scholarship, beginning of the year, barn dance midway, and then giving end of year appeal.
And maybe report, you all donated this much for the scholarship and we were able to offer a,
Yes.
$2,500 scholarship this year. And that may help bring in some of the more local folks if we're providing a scholarship for a local
Yeah.
kid,
Yeah.
maybe they're willing to donate some for that.
And that's why I put communication on here because there's so many things that make it valuable to the audience is if you say, we asked, you gave, and look what we did, right?
Yeah.
And that's huge because otherwise it's like, well, it goes into a black hole, and what did you do with that?
Right.
We're at time, folks, and I really don't want to keep you later. I think this is a good starter conversation. I hope you do. I think for ourselves, we need to be more enlightened. And thanks to what Sylvia is doing, I think we can make sure everybody on the board is. And so we can all be cognizant where we stand all along. And I'm thinking, sorry, go ahead.
Do we need some printout next weekend about financials? Anything?
You know what? I think it would be good to do something high level. I don't think we want to get in the weeds
Okay.
with them, but I think it would be good. Do you want to maybe draft a high level something? I'd be happy to
Yeah, I can do that.
see what it looks like.
Yeah, and I can print it. That's easy.
Okay. And I'm thinking, let
I
me
have the
ask you
logo
folks
anyways.
what you think of this. I'm thinking at the annual meeting, why don't I go ahead and say we're doing it, kind of make fun of the website and say, do you think we need a new one? And hopefully we get a lot of yeses. And I can say, this is an opportunity for you to make that happen. And see if we make that the push right now. And then at later times, other annual meetings, maybe we push more on the other stuff. But we could go ahead and say, as part of the year, I'm planning to mention the scholarship and say many of you have helped us do that. Here's what's happening with that young girl. We can say the same for the barn dance that, as you know, we were pushing for donations and it did enable us to do a lot this time that we usually don't do. And get these t-shirts and all this stuff. So I'm thinking if I just keep it money focused, as far as the need and the benefit that they've already made happen. I mean, does that sound okay to you guys?
Yeah.
There's the usual report kind of stuff, but I think if Sylvia's report stays somewhat high level, and if you want to make any particular, affirmation, Sylvia, about, where we have need, et cetera. But I think if I focus on just the fact that we've gotten feedback that people really like these additional things we're doing. And so that being the case, your help is what's going to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Well, that's this weekend. I can't believe it. I'll just barely get in the door in Beersheba before it all starts on Friday. Unfortunately, we've got meetings on Wednesday here. I've got another meeting tomorrow for another group, so I'm just having to rush back at the last minute. But if any of you can help out with the booth and you haven't signed up, let me know. We do have a bunch of spaces, or if you know some people you think you could pass that on to, please do. I sent the email today. If you haven't seen it, there's the ability for people to sign up, and reminders about the annual meeting in there. And there's a donate thing at the bottom as well. So hopefully that helps us out.
So I saw the email, but I wasn't sure if each of those time slots had need or if it was just a. So I'm not sure. Is that just the open slots?
Those are just the open slots. Yeah.
Okay. And they'll fall off as someone selects them?
It's not set up to do it automatically. I'm doing that manually. So I took off what Sanford signed up and what Sylvia signed up, and John Earthman also signed up for a segment. Just because I realized that if we get 50 people well, we're not going to get 50 people, but we get a bunch of people that want to do the same time, then we're not really benefiting getting the
Right.
coverage.
Okay. That's why I didn't select a time, but
Okay.
I'll go in there and do something.
Yeah, sorry if it wasn't clear. I just figured this time it would help me out if the schedule got created versus me manually tracking all that stuff. So yeah.
Did you ask already the new members too? Were they on there?
The new
The new
members, I'm
board
sorry.
members, the new board members, did that email go to them too?
Today's the distribution?
Yes.
Oh yeah, they're already on our list. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, I'm having them all over to my place next weekend for kind of an orientation. So Letisa and Bradley and
Susie.
Susie, thank you. I'm actually waiting to hear back from Susie. That's why I hesitated about her availability. But if she's available then too, then I'm going to have them over and we'll just casually give them some history about the board and stuff. So they don't. I realized you all didn't get that, and it kind of makes sense because you come in blindsided. So.
Okay.
Okay, doke. Well, listen, let me let y'all go. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Thanks for jumping over
Trekking
to
all the way over here.
Sylvia's so you can participate.
Oh, we at the White House.
Oh, you're at the White House.
We don't have power.
Oh, you don't have power at your place.
We are both backbone.
Oh, I didn't realize you
we
were.
just cut before, so we are sitting in the dark there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that maybe it was just that end of backbone or something. Okay.
No,
All
us
right.
too.
Well, I hope you get it back very quickly, and
Hope
I'll
so
let you
too.
go so you can go home. But and hopefully the weather cooperates after this.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, y'all.
Thanks,
Bye,
Have a
guys.
good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.